Sky Squad, we are back in the building, and of course, we have got to talk about Marlo Hampton on the latest episode of Reality with the King with Carlos King. Carlos King's podcast, which has been popping ever since this thing jumped off. And this week did not disappoint, okay? We're going to go ahead and stage dive right on into the tea right off the jump. We ain't wasting no time today, okay? So let's go ahead and dive in. So, of course, Marlo touched on this interesting tidbit, which a lot of us did not know, exclusive tea that Carlos was able to get and provide. So apparently, Marlo was offered a peach in season 4 when she was first approached to be on the show. Yes, Marlo Hampton was offered a peach when she was first attached to the show. It's so odd to me that she would turn it down at that point. But according to Marlo, she was just like, I was already that girl in Atlanta, the first to drive an Aston Martin in Atlanta, going to Paris Fashion Week. I had my boutique and whatnot. And so she was like, I really wasn't really all that interested in the show. But after that point, she says that she became more interested in getting a peach after she realized that, she actually had fans that were watching the show, that were tuning in and that were loving her. And then she realized this was something that she wanted. And for a long time, she was told that she would never have a peach. But she was told this by not only Nene Leakes, but also Kenya Moore. So Carlos was like, how does it feel knowing that, at times when you and Nene have beefed, that she told you that you would never have a peach? And, Marlo talks about Nene in a very interesting way. And we're going to contrast that with how she speaks about Kenya Moore. But with Nene, she says that it's kind of like having a big sister, or like having an ex or a boyfriend that, is going to give it to you real good, but will also say some slick stuff about you and, kind of go in on you when they feel, the need to do so.
It's like dating a man who, gonna throw shade at you and dish you, but he know how to just kiss on you and fuck you real good. And then you like, damn, I take him back. And it's like, it may be bad. It's like I'm in that kind of relationship with.
And so it was a very interesting way that she talked about Nene Leakes, especially considering that Nene had spoken about her and her furs on the Real Housewives of Atlanta this season. And she talked about running into Nene Leakes and how that things just kind of picked up back like they were normal. But it felt to me, just in listening to this conversation, and Carlos kind of seemed to share the same sentiment about Nene, is that she is really sweet. Marlo does recognize that there are things that Nene Leakes has fought for her for in terms of, like being able to participate in cash trips, getting to the bag, on the show, and other ways as well. And so she remains loyal to her for that. And she really does appreciate the friendship. But she talks about it in a way that kind of makes you feel like, I don't know, like you kind of have you kind of have to tiptoe and kind of tap dance around a person because you just never know what kind of mood they're going to be in. And she says that's just Leakes. That's just her. She just feels like that's just family to her. So, she kind of just really puts up with it. So that was very interesting to me as well. So Carlos also stated that he felt like Marlo was the new face of the franchise and that it should be called the Real Marlo of Atlanta. So responding to the fact that Kenya Moore said that Marlo thinks she's the new Nene, Marlo says, I'm authentic and I'm real and I'm just being my true self. And she doesn't have an acting background like how Kenya and Drew act on the show. But she does say that Kenya can read.
I'm an icon, she's an ex-con.
She is also coming out with some shirts that saying iconic ex-con in response to Kenya Moore saying that she is an icon and Marlo is an ex-con. So continuing on, Carlos says the Real Housewives will never be the same. And he says, let's focus on the new iteration of the Real Housewives and what it can be, and that she is the face of the franchise. She thinks that Kandi and Kenya are taking things that she is saying on the show currently too personally. Now, with regards to their friendship, the Kenya and Marlo friendship. Carlos comments on how she went to comfort Kenya in this past week's episode when Kenya had the issue with Mark. So Marlo says, well, Kenya has no storyline. You don't see Kenya around. Like, where does she get her money from? And when you came in, Kenya was broke. She says she was painting the walls in her apartment in Marietta. She says, I came in the scene first wearing that wig like Rizzo in the first episode of this new season in homage to her performance on Dancing with the Stars. And she couldn't even be bothered to wear authentic designer to my event. Kenya is an effed up person, okay? So Carlos countered and said, but you just gave grace to Nene. Can you give the same grace to Kenya? And Marlo says, no, never again, because I'm not a sugarcoater and I'm not going to bite my tongue. And I state facts and I say what's on my mind. And then she switched over to Kandi. She says, like Kandi. Kandi's always saying, I fought for you to be on the show. Why are you coming for me? And Marlo says, I'm not that girl. I'm not going to just say what you want. I'm going to say what I want. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'll tell you off and we should be able to bounce back after that because that's what real friends do. So they get into this interesting story from season 9 where they were all out in the woods glamping and you had Marlo going at Kenya Moore and Kenya Moore was refusing to give her anything. And so Carlos and Marlo revealed that at that point, Carlos had to step into the scene and say, I don't care what you all are doing in your Fashion Nova outfits, but you are going to give everything in the scene and give it to whomever wants it in this scene because we are making a television show and you guys were hired to give it your all. Okay. I was like, yes, Carlos, that's how you get a show going, baby. Okay. Anyway, they get on Kandi and the vibrating panties, which apparently they all were just like, so repulsed by. Carlos wanted to know why the single ladies felt uncomfortable. Marlo felt like it was inappropriate because she doesn't want anyone's man buzzing her vajayjay. And she says to Kandi, do some stuff for the black culture, like show us how to start a production on Broadway. She then goes on to say Kandi has effed out of Atlanta. And then she says, in the same way that she says I've effed out of Atlanta. And so I'm assuming that she meant been around the block, but I'm not necessarily sure. But she does say that, Kandi has effed out of Atlanta. Then she says, your man is complaining he needs the SEX and you want your man to vibrate us? You sound stupid. You just a fool. And it ain't nobody in your clique told you sound stupid. You sound stupid, okay? I mean, she really went in on Kandi in this moment. And then she says about her and Kandi getting into it this season. She says, well, because Carlos asked this. He says, it felt like Sheree, Kenya, and Marlo are holding Kandi accountable because he's heard that they felt like she kind of coasted through most season. And he says, this season, y'all are making sure she works for that check. Marlo said, yep, the same way you felt when you were producing the show. Okay, indicating that apparently she felt like Kandi wasn't doing anything on the show, even back when Carlos was producing. Marlo goes on to say, we felt the exact same way, and it's the same thing with her. Make sure that even though you advocated for me getting that peach, you are not off limits, Kandi, and you're going to work for this check the way you work for every other job. It's not going to be just, she want to come in and she want to give a little bit. Like, you're not Nene. Sorry. We give Nene a different platform. She started this. You didn't. You're paid more than me, so you're going to work for this check, this platform that you brought back, and brought you back, and you're going to give your true story and your realness. And then she goes on to say, Kenya doesn't know that I love when Kenya be reading and shading me. I'm all here for it, okay? Because they really get into this idea that the girls on Atlanta, love and respect when a castmate give a good read to each other. And case in point, Nene it was stated that Nene told Carlos that Claudia deserved that peach once she got into that reading session down in Puerto Rico. Marlo says, I be wanting to call Kenya so bad, but she's so messed up, I can't call her, when she reads me and it was a good read. She says, Kenya loves reading me. I think I'm the girl that Kenya really wanted to be. Like, she's probably wondering, how is Marlo where I want to be? And she's mad at God about it. She says, stay home, hiding in the closet, reading me. That's fine. She says, I'm going to stay being authentic and reading your crazy, delusional ASS. Okay. They also get into whether or not they will see more of Marlo's personal life and her dating life on the show. And it's quite possible. And we also learned that, Carlos has seen Marlo out a lot with guys, but not a lot, but he has seen her out with guys, but it's never been old white guys like they've been saying on the show. And Marlo, he talked about seeing Marlo with a thug. Okay. So listen, if y'all have not heard this podcast with Carlos King with Marlo, she goes all the way in, and let's have. Okay, so definitely tap into it. The link will be in the description down below. I just had to give y'all my recap of it because it was wild, and I cannot wait to see or hear what Kandi or Kenya have to say about this episode of Reality with the King with Carlos King. That podcast, baby, if you ain't heard it yet, you need to go and listen to it for yourself. All right. So with that being said, I will catch you guys in the next video.